I was sitting in my favorite easy chair watching some soccer on TV. Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, if I remember correctly, generally trying not to think about anything else, when my dear wife Anna passed me on her way out. "Tom, I'm going out tonight," she announced nonchalantly. "Yes, my dear." Well, what else could I say? I was surprised that she told me what she planned to do at all. Usually, my ever-loving wife would just leave without a word. Without you, of course. She took her time to stop on her way out to smile at me cruelly. Of course. That was the way our marriage was working. She humiliated me. She had lots of intimacy with different men while I was cut off completely. I had accepted it. It was just the way things were. "I will pick some guy up and let him love me silly while you sit at home and wait for me to return. How do you like that?" She, of course, tried to up the ante to get the much-desired hurt reaction from me. "I'm glad for you." This was the usual way we discussed these things. She tried to hurt me as much as she could, while my role was to be supportive about it and just take the beating. She seemed to enjoy this game quite a lot, maybe even more than the actual intimacy with other men. "I'm sure you are. You really enjoy this, don't you? You'll probably sit here thinking about me with someone else again, won't you?" "Maybe, my dear. I haven't yet decided," I replied. "You're such a pathetic weakling. A real man wouldn't enjoy being humiliated like you do. It's so nice for me to be married to such a pushover. You're really too weak to deal with a confident woman like me, are you?" "Probably, yes," I replied. Her look said, "I've got you by the balls, Buster. And it's fun to twist them a little." And she was absolutely right. There was nothing I could or wanted to do about her infidelity. She enjoyed testing how much I was willing to endure, and so far she hadn't found my limit. "You're not a man. You're a joke." I could feel her contempt almost physically. "Yes, dear," I said. I even tried to smile. "Don't wait up for me," she announced. And with that, she was gone. My ever-loving, pretty wife. Well, she wasn't as pretty anymore as she'd been 5 years ago when I met her. She had been a charming, enticing young lady. Not model-like thin, but nicely rounded in the right places. She was a friendly, but not overly intelligent or educated next-door type of girl. Easy to like, easy to spend time with, easy to have fun in bed with if you didn't mind her not being the sharpest tool in the shed. I was aware that we were fundamentally mismatched, but it worked fine in the beginning. A prenup was never an issue. I just didn't need it, and she certainly never mentioned one. I wasn't even sure if she knew what that word meant. Well, things have changed a lot since then, that's for sure. 1826 minus 1793 equals 33. That was the important number. I thought that she had explored every way to hurt me, but it turned out she was quite creative. "I'm thinking about making an adult movie and distributing it freely on the internet, honey. What do you think? Wouldn't that be nice?" Oh my. The calm Saturday afternoon was already history. Anna was obviously in the mood to torture me again and had come up with a new and exciting idea of how to do it. "If that's what makes you happy, go ahead," I replied. "Of course, it's going to include things I've never done for you." "Of course, dear. That's probably expected in such movies," I replied. "My lovers get it anyway, so I'm already used to it." She really looked happy while she laid all of this on me. "I see. Good for you," I replied. "Of course, people might recognize me as your wife," she announced. "That would be tough for me," I replied. "You bet," she smirked at me. Grinning, she left me towards her bedroom, the room I hadn't slept in for quite a while. I thought about my marriage. No love with my wife in almost 2 years. She had plenty, of course, as she's been cheating all the time. Then started the ridiculing and purposeful humiliation phase. It got harder and harder constantly, but I couldn't stand to lose her. I just couldn't. I needed this woman, desperately. I really couldn't lose her. 1826-1798 equals 28. The number 28 sounded quite okay, actually. "Hi, honey," she chirped sweetly while entering our house. Her chipper mood usually meant that she was about to come up with one of her special cruelties. "Hi, Anna." I tried to sound as upbeat as possible until I saw that she wasn't alone. This guy seemed like a big, friendly fella, a bit like you'd envision a typical construction worker. "This is Martin, honey. I'm just spending some time with him. He's a construction worker." "Ah, I see. Hi, Martin." Tom. He was clearly tense as he took my offered hand, which was a little surprising. This guy had nothing to fear. I'm not a big guy, and I haven't been in a fight since I left grade school. He could probably clean my clock without spilling his beer if he had one. You see, we plan to have a nice afternoon romp now, go to dinner later, maybe to the movies or dancing. Maybe we'll meet some of our friends. You know, the usual stuff a woman does with her lover. "Okay, have fun, honey," I replied. Martin looked at me as if I had two heads. I couldn't blame him. He seemed like a decent guy. At least he felt uncomfortable humiliating me. His sympathy was nothing I could take for granted, as I had to learn during the past months. Some of her lovers were real jerks and had fun insulting me as much as possible. But of course I had to endure it if that was what helped me keep my wife. "Tom, honey, why don't you make yourself and Martin a drink? I'm going to take a quick shower so I'm nice and fresh for my lover." "Of course, dear," I replied. Anna had disappeared upstairs while I sat in the living room with Martin in uncomfortable silence. Finally, he couldn't stand it any longer. I was already used to this situation and knew exactly what to expect. "Sorry, Tom, I don't get it," he began. "What seems to be the problem?" I asked. "You seem to be a decent guy. You're getting off on this humiliation stuff?" "That's hard to explain. The situation is more complicated than it appears," I replied. "Man, why do you do it?" he questioned. "Well, it's her choice, isn't it?" "She's a grown woman. As her husband, it's my duty to support her," I replied. "Okay, but why do you take it so calmly? It must hurt like hell." "Believe me, it does." "I think that's why she keeps doing it," I replied. "Why don't you leave her?" he asked. "I can't lose her. It's just not a possible outcome. I need this woman." "Poor sucker. Man, you're good looking. I bet you have to fend off chicks with a stick." "Why don't you leave her?" he asked. "As I said, I want to stay with her. I need her. No other woman will do for me. It's hard to explain." "Man, granted she's decent looking, but let's be honest, she's not a real lovable person. She's a decent time pass but annoying as hell, and she could lose a few kilos." "You're right, she has gained a bit recently," I replied. "Why her?" "You're one league above her. Don't torture yourself like this. It's hard to watch this," he pressed. "Yet, you're still having intimacy with her," I answered. "Yeah, I'm just giving you advice. It doesn't matter if I have intimacy with her or not. She will cheat on you anyway. If not with me, then with some other guy." "True." I sipped on my much-needed drink again. The whole situation was so very hurtful. Again, I had to unsuccessfully try to explain to a total stranger why I was the wimp of the century. Right at that moment, Anna appeared again. "Ah, here you are. You seem to get along quite nicely. It's so nice to have a willing husband serving drinks for my lovers. Maybe I should get you an apron or something." I gulped hard. This was even more painful than usual for me, whereas she was happy, looking for new and exciting ways to hurt me. "Tom, honey, as you certainly remember, we didn't have love for about 2 years." "Yes, I'm fully aware of that fact," I replied. "You know, I've decided it's about time to start thinking about having kids." "How can that be the reason for not having love?" I asked. "It isn't. But this way it's been safe for me to stop taking my pills. I couldn't risk getting knocked up by you, could I? It would be ridiculous to pass on your genes. I wouldn't want my son to be a worthless husband like you. Actually, I stopped taking my pills about 2 months ago. And honey, I've bought one of these pregnancy tests. And I've just confirmed that I'm indeed pregnant. Isn't that great? You're going to be a daddy. Some real man did the job for you." Oh. This was a new kind of escalation. Another guy had knocked her up and she announced it while one of her lovers was in the room with me. I had to sit down and didn't feel so well. "You're serious?" I asked. "Of course I'm serious, honey. I've always been honest with you." I chose not to comment on that. "So who's the daddy?" "You. You're going to be the daddy. You're going to raise the kid, drive it around, teach the kid, pay for it." She actually had the nerve to giggle at that. "Okay, we're upstairs then to have fun. Have a nice evening." Martin looked at me pityingly while he followed her upstairs. 1826-1811 equals 15. 15. 15. Sounds good? I was sitting at the breakfast table the next morning, sipping my black morning lifesaver. "Morning, honey," Anna said while shuffling into the room. She definitely looked tired, probably having had an exhausting night. "Morning, Anna." To my surprise, she actually kissed me on the cheek. "Some coffee left?" she asked. "Yeah, in the pot." "Okay." We sipped the hot Java in silence for a while. "Tom, sorry for yesterday," she answered. "What?" I was surprised. This was the first time Anna had ever apologized. "I know I treat you bad and I know you don't deserve it, but that's the way our marriage works, right?" I just nodded. "You're so helpless when you have to put up with everything I do. I just can't stop hurting you. It makes me feel so alive, so powerful. It's such a rush to dominate you." "I understand that, honey," I replied. "I know. I think this is the best way for you as well. You seem to like it for some reason." I remained silent. There was nothing I needed to say. We both knew where we stood. Our marriage had been completely different in the beginning. We were so much in love. We had so much fun. It was perfect. I still get warm feelings when I remember that time. You know, it's not really important who the baby's biological father is. "So you were serious about that?" I asked. "Oh, yeah. What do you think? That I'm just bluffing?" Her tone was harder again. This moment of empathy was just the eye of the hurricane. "No, you're probably not," I replied. "No, surely not. And you know what's best? I went to one of these immigrant shelters when I was fertile and let them love me silly. Believe me, they couldn't believe their luck when I told them to knock me up. It was fun and very satisfying for everybody, except you, that is. You know, intimacy with the goal of conceiving is just so much more exciting." "Oops, sorry. Of course you cannot speak from experience." She giggled again. "Honey, you've been with complete strangers without protection? You're not concerned about potential diseases?" I asked. "No, you're not concerned about being ridiculed by friends and family once it turns out that our kid looks nothing like you?" she questioned. "That will certainly be hard," I replied. "Oh, yes, but you will take it for me. You will hurt for me, because you need it as much as I do, and I need it a lot. This is so much fun. There's nothing you will do about it. I can do whatever I want with you." With that, she left the room. 1,826 minus 1,812 equals 14. I didn't see her at all for almost 2 days, and I assumed that she was getting her brains stormed out somewhere by someone. What a weird marriage. But I needed her, desperately so. No other woman could replace her. She was the one for me, despite her cruelties. I was beginning to be worried and contemplated reporting her missing when she suddenly breezed into the living room. "Tom, my credit card is limited to $10,000 per month." No greeting, nothing. Straight to the point. "Yes, dear." "It always has been," I replied. "That won't work. I need an additional $8,000 this month," she answered. "Oh, what for?" I questioned. "Although that's none of your business as I own half of everything anyway, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to go on a cruise with Martin, and I'm going to pay for both of us. No, it's even better than that. You're the one who pays effectively. You pay for the dream vacation with my lover. This is perfect. This is your ultimate humiliation. I see. How long are you going to stay? I asked. 2 weeks in the Caribbean. Sounds nice. When are you going to leave? I asked. Today, it's a last-minute offer. Be a dear and transfer the money, okay? Sure, honey. I just want you to be happy, I replied. You're such a good little husband. One day I might reward you. Maybe you'll even get a chance to be with me. Maybe. Maybe not. She giggled while she left the room. That holiday actually sounded like a nice idea. 1826-1814 equals 12. 12 is less than 14. Oh my God. 12 was my new favorite number. I spent 2 weeks at home alone while my wife was having a nice and certainly love-filled vacation in the sun. I had a lot of paperwork to do and quite a few things to move around. Honey, I'm back, she announced. Hi, Anna. You had a nice time? I asked. Oh, marvelous. Thanks for this. You're such a nice little husband, she replied. What? My dear wife thanked me for something. That must have been one hell of a vacation. Tom, could we sit down in the living room, please? I have some things to tell you. Sure, Anna, I replied. I followed her and noticed that she had gained a few kilos again. She was not nicely rounded anymore. She was on the verge of being fat. This might be a result of the pregnancy, but probably it was just a result of the good food on the cruise ship. Maybe her constant messing around would come to a natural end soon if she continued to gain weight and lose attractiveness. She asked me to sit at her side, but I chose the easy chair instead. She was surprised about the small act of defiance and pouted briefly, but let it slip. Tom, I know that I've not been as loving as I could have been recently. You've endured it bravely, and it made me realize that I might have to change my ways, she started. Okay. What was happening here? My wife had an epiphany. Tom, I plan to be a better wife to you in the future. Our baby needs a functional family. I need you here as a father, not just in a superficial way, but a real dedicated father. Ah, she needed me to take care of her baby, so she was still free to mess around. That's why she had her miraculous change of heart. So you plan to remain faithful to me from now on? To end my role as a humiliated husband? I asked. Don't be silly. Of course, I'm still going to be taken by real men, but I'm not going to rub your nose into it as much as I did in the past. And honey, you're going to get your jollies too, at least from time to time. Isn't that great? She asked. Oh, that sure came as a surprise. I wasn't prepared for the prospect of actually having intimacy with her again. It would be like a fresh start for us. We could treat each other like we did in the beginning, she answered. I see, I replied. You're so calm. I've expected you to be happier about this. Anna, I'm not sure about this, I replied. Tom, I know it's not been easy for you recently, but I will change. You will see. What time scale do you have in mind? I questioned. What? No time limit. We need to be a real loving family, at least while I'm at home, like the ones on TV, she replied. Just an occasional lover now and then? I asked. Yes. And Tom, maybe my second child will even be yours. Biologically, I mean. It might happen. I see, I replied. I see? That's all you have to say? I thought you loved me and would be overjoyed that our marriage will change, she answered. So you think I love you? After everything you've done to me? I questioned. She looked a little unsettled now. This was obviously not how she had planned this conversation. Tom, you always said you need me, she answered. That's right. But I never said I love you. At least not for quite some time. Tom, isn't that the same? She seemed to be quite confused. Not really. I needed you, but I don't love you anymore. You see, when I was 24, I was a notorious bachelor. I wouldn't say I was overly promiscuous, but I had my fair share of experiences. I had a lot of short-term relationships. I never tried to hurt anyone, but I never had a shortage of attractive women interested in me and no intention to settle down. You know that I'm no quarterback, I'm not a huge guy, I'm more interested in the finer aspects of life. Arts, cooking, classical music. Still quite a few women, beautiful women even, were always interested for some reason. So I used the opportunities I had. "You're a beautiful man, Tom," she replied. "Thanks, you've never told me that before. Anyway, I had this Uncle Albert. We really liked each other, but he always detested my lifestyle. He always tried to convince me to settle down with one woman, with the love of my life. I didn't really disagree with him, but the love of my life just wasn't in sight at the time. So I continued to play the field, much to his irritation. Then he became ill, seriously ill, and he knew that he had only a few weeks left. He told me that he would have loved to be at my wedding, but that obviously wasn't going to happen, but that he still could arrange it. I didn't understand what he meant back then and just let it slip. I was too busy saying goodbye to my friend. I knew that he was loaded, although he lived a simple life. But only after his death, when his will was read, did I realize how loaded. You know, he was a coot, but we liked each other nonetheless. In contrast to the rest of the family, the resentment was total and both-sided. Anna listened to my tale with rapt attention. I hadn't seen her so attentive in years. The will said that I'd get his money. Quite a lot of money, actually. 9 digits like money. "How much is 9 digits?" she asked. "North of 100 million. "Oh, what?" She looked delighted, as if she was already thinking about ways to spend it. However, there was a catch. There always was one with Albert. That was why everyone hated him so much. He had some kind of dark humor. The catch was that all of the money was mine immediately. That's important for various legal reasons. But everything apart from 10 million was to be parked somewhere, controlled by a trustee, and unavailable to me. If I married before I was 25 and stayed married for at least 5 years, all of it would be mine without further conditions. If I failed at that, all but the 10 million would go to some tree huggers. So I needed someone to be married to for at least 1,826 days. "Wow, that's why you married me?" she asked. "Yes. Out of nowhere you came along. Pretty, pleasant, you seemed to like me and practically threw yourself at me. It was a perfect opportunity, and I didn't have much time anyway. But don't get me wrong, I really liked you, and I was combining business with pleasure. The first 2 years were pure bliss. Then you unfortunately found the bank slip of the 10 million account. I could stop working as I didn't need to pretend anymore. I think you assumed that you were safe financially, as half of it would be yours in case of a divorce, regardless of the reason. Unfortunately, that caused you to change for the worse almost immediately. The first year was still bearable. I knew that you started to cheat, but you were discreet. Then, after we were married for 3 years, things turned really ugly. You were beginning to humiliate and insult me openly. But I knew what I wanted. I didn't need your love. I just needed to stay married, to avoid you filing for divorce. This was no marriage anymore. This was just hard work. I got big money, but I've earned every penny, I think." "Wow, Tom. So when are these 5 years over?" she asked. "That would be our 5th anniversary, my dear wife. Certainly a day that is marked in big letters in your calendar, isn't it?" "That would be the... Oh my God. That was the day before yesterday. I forgot our 5th anniversary. Oh damn, what a bad wife I've become. Can you forgive me?" She sensed things had changed, and not in her favor. "You were too busy having intimacy with your lover to remember our anniversary." She gasped, but couldn't deny it. "It doesn't matter. This marriage is just a sham and has been for a long time. I've used you and you've used me. Nothing to forgive. No hard feelings." "Tom, is there anything we can save out of this?" she asked. "No!" I roared. She looked a little sad now, which surprised me. "Isn't it weird? I've come home, willing to change our marriage for the better. only to find that I've long since destroyed it. Yes, I replied. She suddenly looked happier again. But at least I get 5 million. That's a decent sum, I'd say. Why do you think you'll get 5 million? I questioned. Well, if you divorce me, I'll get half of your money, she replied. Anna, legally I own more than 100 million. Oh, wow. She actually squealed a little. It would have been cute under different circumstances. But you will get none of it, I shouted. Well, Buster, my attorneys will see to that. Her tone was hard again. Amazing how quickly this woman could change her mood. You see, my dear, under German law, the marital assets aren't divided in case of divorce, only the additional value that has accrued during the marriage. I already owned everything before we were married, and my net worth has even dropped a little, so you get none of my assets. What? Tom? You're serious? I didn't know. Tom, what can I say? I never could tell you that you'd get nothing in case of a divorce. I couldn't risk changing anything. I just didn't know how you'd react if I told you the facts of life. Keeping the situation stable and staying married was my only goal, so I had to endure it and avoid any change. So if you divorce me, I get... She started, but I cut her off. Nothing. You won't even get alimony. I can prove you're cheating as I've had you followed for quite a while to be prepared for this. But the pregnancy makes things even easier. No chance in hell you're going to get alimony with the way you behaved. But our child will have needs. Can you really abandon our baby like this? She asked. Well, my dearest wife, we both know that this is not my child. Of course you can sue for child support, and you will probably get it. The biological father is the one you have to sue, not me. Tom, that was some refugee. I don't even know which one, nor do I have any of their names, she answered. That sounds like a tricky situation, my dearest wife. Tom, have mercy on me. She looked definitely desperate now, but for some reason I couldn't find any satisfaction in it. I just didn't care one way or another anymore. She was part of my past. Maybe one day I'd even laugh about this whole marriage, but this was not the day. Please don't just kick me out with nothing. I know that I was not the ideal wife for you recently. I mean, going without intimacy for 2 years. Without intimacy? Are you sure? You know, my sweetheart, while you had your trysts, I was busy too. I've met a nice lady named Lily. Like me, she's interested in arts and music. She's not the voluptuous woman you're turned into. She's a graceful and willowy beauty. We have enjoyed countless evenings dancing, at the theater, at the opera, at high-class restaurants, or at classical concerts. So you've also cheated, she said triumphantly, as if this would have changed anything. I didn't say that. It is expected to omit things like that in the opera. I smiled knowingly to let her know that I had a good time with Lily, with the gentle and caring woman who had been my anchor for the last 2 years. That had waited patiently for me. That had built up my confidence again and again. The woman who is the true love of my life. The woman I had made tender love to time and again. A woman who is educated and can hold a meaningful conversation in contrast to the brash and simple Anna. You know, Lily is actually the one that has convinced me not to kick you out with nothing. You can pack as many of your clothes as you want into the fancy BMW SUV I gave you 2 years ago. Whatever you leave behind, I will burn ritually. I don't ever want to touch anything of yours again. For the same reason, you can also keep the car and sell it when you need the cash. I wouldn't want to touch it. I'm even going to sell this house. It reeks of your presence. You hate me that much? I had no idea if hate was the right term for the way I felt, but I also had no intention to think about that. It didn't matter anymore, and every thought spent on her seemed wasted. She looked pensively, with tears in her eyes. We were both silent for a long time. This was the end. We had come to a parting of the ways. Finally. I've been a fool, right? She asked. Yes, I said gently. I had a handsome, caring, and rich man, and I started to play my power games, feeling invincible because of a legal misunderstanding. And now I've lost everything. Yes, you had your fun and you've paid for it by losing a good life. I went through hell and will be rewarded by a good life. I see. How soon do I have to go? She asked. The divorce is already on the way. Please pack your stuff and be gone within 1 hour. Here's $2,000 in cash to keep you afloat until you've sold the car. You can thank Lily for that, but that's all I'm willing to do for you. Thanks for that, I guess. I'll be out of your hair soon. Tom? She asked. Yes? You know what's weird? Somehow I've always loved you, she answered. You're right, I replied. What? She asked. That's weird, I replied. Okay, Albert, I've survived your ordeal. 1826 to 1828 equals -2. 1828 days survived with the wife from hell. -2 to go. Your last joke has unintentionally turned out to be your cruelest. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.